Creating self-belief to achieve something can be tough. At midlife, we carry the scars and memories of past failures that can make us cynical or doubting.
But we are capable of so much more than we realise, and when we can just release our grasp on the doubts that hold us back, then we start to understand just how far we can fly under our own power. In this episode, we give you 15 steps to creating bulletproof self-belief.
Hi, I'm James Davis.
And I'm Claire Davis.
We're the Midlife Mentors, here to lift the lid on how to achieve health and happiness.
The balanced, no-nonsense way.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Midlife Mentors with me, James.
And me, Claire. How are you doing out there today?
Oh, we've got a good one for you today. We're going to talk about how to build unshakable self-belief. And this is actually inspired by one of our group coaching calls with some of the lovely people on our Midlife Method program. Basically reflecting on the football, the Euros, and kind of going, I really wanted England to win, but I had this thing that I just didn't believe that they could. But if I transfer that to myself, like how do I start believing that I can achieve? So that is what we're going to dive into today and give you 15 super actionable tips you can take action on.
You just reminded me actually a little bit more of that conversation with this lovely group that we did the call with. Was actually the lady had started a new job that she'd always wanted for years, like the entire career she's been working towards getting this promotion, and actually kind of going into it almost with that imposter syndrome. We've done a podcast on imposter syndrome before, but going into it thinking, I don't know whether I'm going to be able to make the most of this. I don't know whether I'm going to do a good job. I wonder whether I deserve this and all that sort of thing. So it really, really brought home to us about how we all need to learn a lot better how to build unshakable self-belief.
Hey, listen, like just to give you a heads up, this stuff isn't easy. It takes a lot of practice, like anything in life worth mastering. It takes, consistency and persistency. I love those words.
Persistency. Is that a word?
Consistent and persistent. You got to keep doing this stuff over and over and over. It's stuff Claire and I work on all the times with ourselves. And of course, every time we go for something new that we haven't achieved before, those doubts will creep in. So this is about how you overcome that. That's what we're going to dive into.
We always say, there is every new level, there's another devil sitting on your shoulder, and that devil is that inner critic, that lack of self-belief. But every single time, you're not alone. Every single time a human being goes for the next level, they will have that new devil sitting on their shoulder going, oh, and it's coming from a place of fear, not love, a lack of self-belief. So we're really excited about sharing these tips with you. But I have to say, we're probably even more excited that a week today we're going to be running our first in-person retreat. We've been going on about this for lots of podcast episodes, but
it's so exciting.
It's arriving so fast now, and we've done the schedule, we've done the menus. We've done the menu.
Our granola from the wonderful Roller Granola has arrived today.
We've got our protein from Essential Gains. Thank you so much, guys, for sending us your products. We're really excited about that. We've got the lovely Elaine. Elaine, if you're listening to this podcast, you're going to be doing some photography for us. I've already nominated you. It's out in the world now, so you can't back out. But yeah, we're really excited. We've got a wonderful schedule of mind, body and soul activities, meditation, some yoga, obviously fitness, and our workshops on everything from goal setting to how to manage stressful lives. So
Indeed.
First time in 18 months, James.
I know. And we sold it out ages ago. Now, listen, if you couldn't make that, but you fancy, then I have a surprise announcement.
Oh, yes.
I have confirmed today from the Royal Parks that we will be getting a license to do a pop-up, one-day pop-up in Regent's Park and Primrose Hill on August the 7th, Saturday, August the 7th. So
I was frowning. The good thing about a podcast is you can't see me frowning, thinking, I can't remember the date. Can James remember the date? As he's announcing this, I was thinking, I hope he remembers the date that we said.
Well, actually, I
7th of
also
August.
reminded me, Claire, to mention that we are fortunate enough to be part of the wonderful Get Ahead 24-hour festival as well in London on August the 6th.
We're going to have a busy weekend.
It's a big wellness festival happening in London, and we are part of that. We're on the lineup.
We're doing a workshop and a workout.
I know.
Aren't we?
So really, lots of chances to catch us in person.
Yes, lots of exciting things coming up. Now we're all opening up. It's great. So, shall we whip ahead and get on with our podcast?
Yeah, so I'm going to start in a strange way, just for telling you a little story, a parable, if you were. A tired bird landed on a branch. The bird rested, enjoying the view from the branch and the protection it offered from dangerous animals. But just as the bird was becoming used to the branch and the support and safety that it offered, a strong wind started blowing and the tree swayed with such intensity it seemed the branch would snap in half. However, the bird wasn't worried because it knew two important truths. The first truth: even without the branch, it was able to fly and remain safe through the power of its own two wings. The second truth: there were many other branches on which it could temporarily rest.
I like that.
So it's all about having belief, no matter how much you might be shaken and stirred, just having the belief that you can see it through. So we're going to dive into the 15 steps for creating bulletproof self-belief.
And number one is, quite simply, accepting where you are in your current situation. We often find, I still do this, we all do this, we're human. We're in a human experience, but, oftentimes we will fight against where we actually are. So we're kind of paddling upstream against what is currently happening in our life. And that just creates even more tension and more opportunity for those that's negative self-talk and negative self-belief or self-doubt to come in, because you're constantly thinking that something's wrong, that things aren't right, and you should be doing better. So you're constantly paddling against life, and it's exhausting. So actually, just as a number one, and these are flowing one from another, accept where you are and your current situation, because that is where you are.
And this is massive because a lot of people, for various reasons, often don't want to acknowledge it. They don't acknowledge where they are right now. But listen, without that, your foundation for which you're starting from is flawed. So you need to be truly, truly honest with yourself. And one way this can manifest is often making excuses for not starting on your journey, not starting on your path, and that's a signal that you're not accepting your current situation. You're just coming up with reasons why you can't do this, you can't do that.
I know, and denial is a huge. It's not just a river. Denial is a huge thing unless you're able to be brave, and it is courageous and it is brave to actually sit and look at where you're at. And I know this is one that's coming up, but actually take responsibility and say, look, this is where I'm at. I need to look at that in order to move forward. And it is courageous and it is brave, but it's the starting point.
It is indeed. So once we've accepted where we are, then two, focus on your past successes. It's really important to start to build that positive mindset. Look at areas where you have succeeded, and if they're related to the goal you're going for now, then, the belief that you want going forward, amazing. But they don't have to be. Just remind yourself of all your successes, all the times you've overcome adversity, challenging circumstances, to actually move forward with your life.
Absolutely. And number three is, I love this one. Don't let fear guide your choices. Okay. Often we make choices based out of fear, not love. And that might sound a bit woo-woo, but I don't mean love. I mean kind of like peace and clarity and calmness. We make choices from a fear-based place. And that's because your inner critic is coming in and giving you all those memories and all those doubts from the past that will hold you and lock you in place. But that is just coming from a place of fear. And what I would say at this point is, when that comes up and that inner critic is going, oh, don't do this, from a place of fear, just go, okay, is that really true? Based on the comment that the tip that James has just said about focusing on your past successes, where things have gone right, actually, when that inner critic comes in and that fear-based decision making is coming in, actually say, is that really true? Because look at all these past successes I've had in the past. Things don't always go wrong. We don't need to always catastrophize everything. We have an innate ability as human beings to, especially at midlife, because we have a whole repertoire of what we call failures behind us, but we have an innate ability to catastrophize every decision that's going on in our head. So just ask yourself, is it really true, or am I over catastrophizing this?
And this leads us nicely to point 4, because, as you start on this journey, of course, your inner critic is going to kick in hard and will start reminding you of all your past, in inverted commas, failures. And we all got them. We've all got them, like stacks of them. The thing is, if you haven't had failures, you haven't been learning lessons. It's part of life. Important thing is like learn the lesson from whatever that failure was and move on from it. So go, okay, in retrospect, now I have wisdom of hindsight. Maybe this would have been a better choice. Great, you've learnt the lesson. What you don't want to do is drag the emotion of poor choices into the present, because that is only going to hold you back. So it's just about taking the lesson, but not pulling the emotion of the past failure in. And linked with that is also taking responsibility. And there's loads of research again in psychology that backs this up. They've done studies where the subjects are given a task. If something goes wrong based on that they missed a bit of information, when they run it again with a new scenario, those that go, oh, I should have picked that up, always do better than the ones that go, well, the information wasn't very clear, so it wasn't my fault. So taking responsibility is really important to learn the lessons, but not dragging that emotion with you.
I was just going to say as well, James and I, over the 5 years, really, 5-6 years that we've been really doing online stuff together and the business together, we have made so many mistakes. And I have to say, looking back now, the person I was making those mistakes, I was a lot more fearful. I didn't have as much confidence. But actually now, I approach new things and new challenges completely differently. And I know James does too. I look at them and think, okay, I know that didn't go brilliantly last time, or something related to it didn't go brilliantly last time. But you know what? I overcame it and I learned something from it. And every single time you do go for something and it doesn't quite work out, you've still got the confidence that you come out the other side. So you build trust in yourself to overcome those, what we call failures, and just move past them. So at first, it's like that momentum breeding momentum thing. It's the same with failures. Once you've made one, you've overcome it, and then made another one and overcome it, you realise they're not such a big deal. And actually, you do get something, a sense of personal self-growth from those failures that you wouldn't have done otherwise. And I would just say, do you want to get to the end of your life and just think to yourself, no, they wouldn't have been a big deal. These things that I wanted to do, they just wouldn't have been a big deal. I should have just got over them and not have let them hold me back and just move forward. And I always relate that to my life. Would I be at the end of my life thinking, oh, I wish I'd done that. I wish I'd just taken that leap of faith. And always that kind of pushes me forward to do it, to be honest.
Yeah, it's a very interesting point you make there, actually. I was going to say, one thing to do is always practice self-compassion with yourself at this, and just remind yourself, when you look back on these things, probably you were doing the best you could at the time with the tools you had available to you. Meaning, the person that was in that situation that made the decisions then isn't the person you are now. And if you had, the emotional skill sets, the mental tools, whatever, you probably would do something completely differently. But at the time, you were doing the best job you could. So, yeah,
it's just about shifting perspective, isn't it? And number 5 is go with a positive attitude. And I'm not saying faux positivity, but optimists do get better outcomes. And
loads of research.
And here's the thing: again, once you adjust that perspective and you do think to yourself, okay, how am I approaching this thought pattern that's going on in my head? How can I rein that mindset back in from looking at the negatives to the positives? And all the tools that we are giving you here and are going to go on to give you as well will really, really help you do this. But just making sure, asking yourself that question in awareness. Awareness breeds change. It precedes change. You cannot change what you don't understand. So actually noticing when you're being less positive and reining it back and going, okay, how could I look at this differently with more optimism is really important.
And you segued nicely into the next point there with awareness. So the next 2 points are linked and slightly paradoxical, but it's like, don't just work on your strengths. It's human nature to play to your strengths all the time. There's nothing wrong with that. We're going to talk the next point about, like playing to your strengths and mastery. But know your weaknesses as well. Don't overlook them, because the thing is, if we just go to our strengths all the time and we pretend we haven't got that weakness, we can be blindsided sometimes when it comes into play. So we want to know them, sometimes even work on them a bit, so we're generally better all around. But it's about the awareness of work. Don't just focus only on your strengths, but be aware of your weaknesses as well.
Yeah, and this leads on to number 7, really. It's about, like James alluded to there, it's about mastering your strengths and being vulnerable enough to a degree to say to yourself, okay, I've got weakness in that area. It's not something I enjoy. It's not something I'm going to keep pushing myself to do, because at the end of the day, if I don't enjoy it and I'm not good at it, that's another opportunity for my subconscious mind and my inner critic to put me down. So I'm going to ask for help here. I'm going to gather a team around me where I can, ask for help, connect with people that will be better at those parts, and I'm allowing myself the space and the time to focus on my strengths. It's about mastering them, knowing what your weaknesses are. Don't keep pushing, and mastering that strength in you.
I've just thought of kind of on-the-fly example there. For example, I'm going to relate it to physicality and say track racing. Some of you know we do work with genetics as well, DNA profiling. We look at your physical attributes. So if you're mainly power-based, you carry a lot of muscle mass, you're going to be great at strength and power events, but your ambition is to be an ultra-endurance runner, the chances are that is going to be tough for you to do. If we talk about playing to your strengths, so that I still want to succeed at being an athlete, a runner, you go, genetically, I am more predisposed to like power short sprints. And the DNA research shows that when you play to your genetic optimize your genetics, you're likely to get a 30% increase in performance. So going to that might be something of recognizing you can run very fast, but maybe your weakness is you get off to a terrible start every time. So that'd be like, okay, I can run fast, I'm going to focus on like this distance running, but a weakness I could work on is actually getting better out the starting blocks when I go. So that's like a physical example.
Absolutely.
Number 8 is recognize and work on your limiting beliefs, because these are the things that will trip you up. And this whole, I guess all these 15 steps are about overcoming those limiting beliefs. But sometimes we'll be very aware of our limiting beliefs, which is great, because then we can recognize them and act to change them or nullify them. Other times we might not want to be honest with ourselves about what our limiting beliefs are, and that's when we tend to get tripped up. So be honest about what your limiting beliefs are. Learn to know them. Learn to know what the triggers are that initiate them coming in, like sparks that voice in your head. And learn to dance with that inner critic and play with them. Yeah,
I love this, because this is where self-sabotaging behaviour comes in. So this is really, really important to, as James said, like look at the triggers. But you can see this in your life. You will be able to see this in your life. What are the limiting? Something you really, really want. Something you've wanted for ages, and you keep getting off the starting blocks, but then you keep self-sabotaging or moving back to the place that you currently are in, and you don't seem to be able to move forward, you're just stuck in a vicious cycle. That is the situation that you need to really look at your limiting beliefs, because that is your truest lesson in this lifetime, most probably, is what that limiting belief is. And once you can start identifying it and moving to overcome it, your life will change. Number 9. Love
massive.
This one. Okay, drop the comparison and the expectation. So let's start with comparison first. Comparison is the thief of joy. We will always say this: stay in your lane. It is so easy.
Saying this the other day, weren't we, in an interview?
Yeah, we did an interview with a lovely guy yesterday on his podcast, and we were saying this kind of comes into playing with your strengths and not your weaknesses. You're not always going to be a jack of all trades, but also the way society is set up, it kind of makes you feel like you have to. It's a shiny object syndrome. It's like, okay, you need to be good at this, you need to be good at this, you need to do this. Look at that person over there that's got that. I need that. I want to be, in order to be successful, I have to be that person or this person or dress like that or feel like this or say that. It is exhausting. And years ago, James made this great point about on our podcast yesterday that we recorded with this guy. You know, years ago, you didn't have this. You didn't have this digital age where you could see what millions of people are doing in their life. You probably knew in your inner circle, your friends, your family, and Joe Blogs down the street. So you only had quite a limited view and a limited expectations, actually, of what your life might be like. Now, we can say that's bad, we can say that's good, but I think it's gone too far. We both think it's gone too far, where you're constantly looking at, you know, other people's, the grass is greener on your side and where you water it, right? The grass is greener where you water it. So stay in your lane. Stop looking at outside validation for your life. Understand what makes you happy, what you want from this beautiful, precious life. Ground yourself in your sense of self and shut out the noise of what else is going on, okay? Because it is so easy to then expect so much more of your life and get caught in a constant state of unfulfillment because you're not focusing on just what you want out of your life and what makes you happy.
I was going to say another facet of this, another way it can manifest is, you know, what I call shiny object syndrome. You know, you're going for your goal and you're there, but you're saying like, oh, that person looks like they're doing it better in inverted commas. They're getting there faster. I'm going to change my methodology to do it that way, and you just keep jumping.
And yet that really, we've done this before. Hands up, we did this. You know, in the business world of what we do, it's so easy to be flawed by someone else doing something else and better than you. So you try that tactic. You invest time and money in it, energy, and then because it's not really you, because it's not coming from an innate place of your sense of self, grounded in what you want, grounded in where you're going with that focus and clarity, you really get pulled off. And then those self-doubts, the lack of self-belief is given a chance to come in even more. So it's your journey, stay in your lane, water your grass.
I love that. Point 10, I love this one.
Because it's so true.
It's true, and it's so often overlooked, right? We live in a society where, you know, there's this whole mantra of like, yeah, be focused, go for your goals, get up at 4 a.m. and just hustle all day long. Maybe, but I'm a big believer in taking what we call energetic action. So that is building healthy routines, focusing on your growth in other areas, learning new skills in other areas, getting out of your comfort zone. Because the more we can get, listen, if you're going to go for a bowl, if you're building new self-belief, it's going to make you uncomfortable. If you can put yourself in uncomfortable situations in other ways as well, you're going to get more used to that discomfort and enable your growth. Build your mindset. You know, I'm doing this at the moment.
I love
my training. I love mixing up my training. I'm pretty fit, but I've decided I'm going to a thing called Fight School. So it's 8 weeks boxing training,
I'm so
designed
by
by a professional coach. And it's outside my comfort zone, but I'm getting so much from it. So it's about taking action that might not always feel like it's in the direct direction of your goal, but it's energetically supporting what you want to achieve, and that is so important.
Well, it's also knowing that you're worthy of doing that as well. It's kind of giving yourself the space and time away from your work or, you know, what you normally do to give you a different perspective. I'm also working with someone at the moment on something that really, really interests me that actually will end up being, I'm sure, about my mission and my work and all that sort of stuff, but actually it's something completely different, and it is making me feel so amazing and so centered and so peaceful. It's really, really exciting. So yeah, energetic action. The other one, number 11, again, super important. Surround yourself with people who inspire and support you, right? Look at the people around you. They say it is either a supportive circle or a cage that keeps you locked in your limiting self-beliefs, your lack of action, your lack of moving forward. You know, if you look at all those people close around you, do they inspire you? Because honestly, your circle of people is everything. So you want to surround yourself with people that make you feel accepted, worthy, loved, but also those people that you look at and go, wow, okay, they really inspire me. I want to kind of be in their company. I come away feeling really good. They're not an energy vampire. You know, we have a lot of people in our lives, I'm sure, less so actually for me now, but you know, there've been energy vampires in my life, and actually freeing yourself from those. You don't need to completely exclude yourself, but freeing yourself from those energy vampires is really important in order to do all the rest of what we're talking about here. Because, as I said, it's either a supportive circle or a cage that keeps you locked into your way of life.
Power of proximity.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, join that mastermind group, find that mentor, find that coach, you know, just step up.
Yeah, that's why we invest. You know, that's why we love to work with our clients that have come to us and want to expand what's possible for them. And that's why we work with coaches, mentors, and why James is doing what he's doing, because we want to grow and learn and get different perspectives. And that comes from widening your circle and making sure it's supportive, not a cage.
Point 12, make positive choices. And we're hearing about watch what you're feeding your mind. Because again, you know, we can be super focused on the goal we want to achieve, but then, you know, in our downtime, be unwittingly sometimes just loading ourselves up with negativity. So just, you know, watch what you're watching on the television, what you're listening to, particularly what you're looking at in your social media feeds. You know, like, you don't want to be like all super positive and going for your goal, but then you're spending hours scrolling and getting angry looking at stuff that upsets you or is really negative. So make good choices, clean your feed. Every day, do your affirmations, spend time visualizing you achieving your goal, really going into the emotion of what it's like to have achieved it. You know, we spend a lot of time with our private clients doing visualization work. Have a vision board, check in with it daily. You know, just stay positive with what you're feeding your mind. Yeah,
feed it mush and you'll think mush, and life will be mush. That's what, it's really important that you take responsibility for this. Don't keep saying, oh, that negative thing is coming. You are responsible for what you feed yourself. And it's really, really important to say, because it's something that we're learning every day more and more. So yeah, just be careful what you're feeding yourself. Number 13, celebrate the wins, even the ickle wins, however small, that take you towards your goal. We want you every night going, wow, I did really well with this, and this. And it might not be a big thing. It might be, I went in the kitchen and didn't go for the chocolate biscuits. You know, I made a choice that I'd got up this morning, didn't really want to do any exercise, but I did it anyway. Or, you know, I chose my reaction to someone saying something at work. I chose a different response to what I normally would. Really allow yourself some space and time at the end of every day to celebrate those wins and say, you know what? I did a good job today. I did a good job, because that little pesky inner critic is there ready to tell you that you didn't. So you want to be able to say, you know what? I did that great. Well done. Well done.
And closely related to that, point 14, keep reinforcing your new belief, especially when you experience evidence of it. So, you know, when you get that win, go, oh, there we go. That is reinforcing belief. I am a person that can do this. I'm a person that can do that. I am a person that can achieve this thing. Because we're looking to build those new neural pathways to, like, basically install this new software of the new belief.
Yeah, actually, and I was just thinking, you know, when you write down or just really acknowledge those wins, it makes you stay on track. It makes you stay on track. You're really consciously acknowledging your growth, and it makes it easier for your subconscious mind to go, okay, I'm getting somewhere here, and then it becomes more habitual. It becomes more normalized. Number 15.
The last one. Super important though.
Please, friends, just enjoy the journey. Remember, the destination you set out for may not be the one you arrive at, but sometimes the universe knows where you should go more than you do. This has happened. We've talked about this in other podcasts before. Talk about this all the time. You set on a trajectory and you think you're going somewhere, and the universe gives you something that even at first might look like it's a fail, or you're just frustrated and you think, why has that happened? And as Steve Jobs famously said in one of his last speeches, you only understand life looking backwards. So try not to be really, really, I don't know, so rigid. so rigid in where you want to go that you can't see the beauty in actually the fact that you've been taken off in a different direction. You have to enjoy the journey. If you're not, then you're going to get there and you're going to not have learnt those things that you needed to learn about yourself that were really, really important. I think life gives you these lessons because you were predestined to learn them. And if you're really, really rigid and not flowing with life, it goes back to the first point, actually. If you're not flowing with life, you're really, really missing the joy and the beauty. You've got to be present with it and enjoy the journey.
I hope that helps. I mean, this is, I know, a lot to take in, but we've tried to distill it there to 15 points. They need working on, as we said at the start. You have to be consistent and persistent with this stuff. You know, you can't just go, oh, I'll say I believe I can achieve this once a week and it will change things. You need to be like using all of these all the time. But we're here to tell you that it is possible. We do it. Our clients do it. There's loads of research that supports it. You know, we can actually create, you know, thanks to the marvels of neuroplasticity, our wonderful brains, we can actually like create new neural pathways, new brain architecture that can support new beliefs to help us achieve these things. So whatever you want to do, get the belief and go out and do it.
I always think time is passing anyway. Why not really use this to your advantage? You know, time is something, it's a finite resource, it's something we're not going to get back. So make sure that you really are kind of being kind to yourself and compassionate with yourself and bolstering yourself, because there's enough out there in the world, enough memories, enough things telling us that it's all doom and gloom, but actually your inner world is where your power is. So make sure that you are building that unshakable self-belief, because you deserve it and it is possible, and we think you're amazing.
I hope you enjoyed that. Please do share it to anyone you think would benefit from it.
And email us.
We'd love to hear from you.
Yes.
team@themidlifementors.com. You can join our free community over on Facebook, the Midlife Mentors community. Just send us an invite, ask to join. We'd love to see you in there.
All the links are in the show notes.
And we're just sending you all so much love. Until next time.
Until next time, lots of love. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
You've been listening to the Midlife Mentors with Claire and James Davis.
We'd love to hear from you. So drop us a line at info@themidlifementors.com with any questions or topic suggestions.
And make sure you join us on our Facebook page and YouTube channel. You can find us under the Midlife Mentors.
Yeah.